It lays the predicate and the foundation for the development of a weather satellite that will permit man to determine the world's cloud layer and ultimately to control the weather, and he who controls the weather will control the world.
For Russian soldiers overseas.
Thank you. I'd like to just get on to Mr.
Yes.
Fletcher. Another question on the in an interview with the Los Angeles Times on April 21st, you said that you told the Associated Press that the American government has created weather tampering techniques so that the New World Order will be able to starve millions of Americans and to control the rest. Would you explain what you were trying to say?
Well, what I was trying to say is exactly what I said. There is weather control techniques. We have a complete package on that, which I did not bring, but I certainly will see to it that it is brought in for the record. Number one, the entire patents on the equipment. Number two, Senator Claiborne Pell's complete statement and story of his own that not only does it exist, but that we even utilize it as far back as the Vietnam War. You might want to touch base with Senator Pell.
I just want to repeat before I turn to
So yes, but we do have all that information.
You're saying the government has created weather tampering techniques so that the, quote, New World Order will be able to starve millions of Americans.
Worldwide.
Millions of Americans, and to control the rest.
Yes, sir, and that's my belief. As bizarre as that sounds, if somebody had told me that that equipment even existed 10 years ago, I would have thought they were nuts, sir. And at this point in time, we have all the documents to prove it. And if you think that 85 tornadoes takes place in the middle of our growing area by simultaneous accident, I'm sorry. With the equipment that's already set up internationally, and as bizarre as that is, it is proven and documented. We will supply you with those documents. As bizarre as that is, I would say that weather wars, and this is quoting actually Senator Claiborne Pell himself, that they are the greatest weapon ever created in the world, and that's the Senator's own statement. So yes, I do stand on that.
Thank you, Mr. Fletcher. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Senator Cole. Senator Fine.
Hi guys, I hope you're having a great night so far. So that was an introduction of what we will be talking about in this video. Sometimes we may think that some things that the mind is not able to comprehend are conspiracies. So that's why I decided to start doing this video in order for us to lift the veil a little bit. This video, guys, is just so you can see factual information that then you can choose what to discern or what to take in. Okay, guys? So in this video, I will discuss some research made by Harvard University and their cloud seeding project, and I'm going to discuss the HARP research facility and the story of a war veteran called Ben Livingstone. So let's start talking about what is geoengineering. Geoengineering, also referred to as climate engineering, is the deliberate and large-scale intervention in the Earth's climatic system, okay? With the aim of this so-called geoengineering in these websites, what I'm reading, the aim is to reduce what they call global warming, okay? So it is really interesting, first of all, to see this, and we have seen a lot of evidence that portrays that this so-called global warming, and I'm not saying that it does not exist, but not at the level that we've been informed, okay? We can see even Al Gore's, YouTube videos and how we were all supposed to be underwater by I don't know which year, guys. So let's start discerning this information. Let's start when we watch news or when we watch whatever, let's start grounding ourselves and seeing this data and analyzing this data. Okay? So now, let's start defining as well something called cloud seeding. Cloud seeding is a type of weather modification that involves introducing substances into the clouds to enhance precipitation, typically rain or snow. The goal is to induce the formation of ice nuclei, which are necessary for precipitation to occur. Common agents used for cloud seeding include silver iodide, potassium iodide, dry ice, and something called hygroscopic materials, just like table salt, okay? These substances serve as cloud condensation or ice nuclei, allowing water to vapor to condense or freeze onto them, forming larger droplets or ice crystals that become heavy enough to fall to the ground as precipitation. So, cloud seeding is typically used for increased rain or snowfall, prevent precipitation from occurring in subsequent days, and enhance snowpack in mountain regions. So now we're going to see the relationship between Harvard University and these cloud seeding projects, okay? So Harvard University has been involved in cloud seeding research, a form of solar geoengineering that aims, as I already said, guys, to modify clouds to reflect more sunlight back into space, and then its aim, according to them, is to cool the planet, okay? However, the university's plan for a large-scale experiment have been halted. So the initial plan was that in 2020, Harvard scientists plan to launch a high-altitude balloon equipped with propellers and sensors to release calcium carbonate, sulfuric acid, and other materials above the planet. The balloon would then fly through the plume to measure how widely the particles disperse, how much sunlight they reflect, and other variables. However, the project remained in limbo for months, and no final decision on its fate had been made as of October 2023. Now, recent studies, including the SNOWY, the Seeding Numerical Warfare for Operational Winter Enhancement project, have shown that cloud seeding can be effective in inducing snowfall in specific conditions. This SNOWY project, led by researchers at the University of Colorado and the National Center for Atmospheric Research, demonstrated that cloud seeding can increase snowfall by up to 15% in certain mountainous regions. Okay? We already know that China has already tried this cloud seeding and it has worked. Okay, guys? We can even Google or whatever search engine you use in order to see these examples. Okay? The information and the facts are out there. Okay? So if you want to know more, let's start analyzing this data. Okay? So now let's talk about this HARP facility. The HARP, High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program, is a scientific research facility aimed at studying the ionosphere, a region of the upper atmosphere. The facility uses a high-power transmitter to temporarily excite a limited area of the ionosphere for their so-called scientific study. Now, what's the ionosphere? The ionosphere is a region of the Earth's upper atmosphere, from about 30 miles or 48 kilometers up to 600 miles, 965 kilometers above the surface, where ionization occurs due to solar radiation. And it plays several key roles. This is super interesting, okay? We're now starting to see the role of this ionosphere. Why? because this scientific research is studying this ionosphere, okay? So let's start seeing what the ionosphere does. Radio wave propagation. It reflects and refracts radio waves, enabling long-distance communication and radio broadcasting. It is also involved in the formation of auroras, which occur when charged particles of the solar wind interact with the Earth's magnetic field. Then it also works as satellite communication. The ionosphere can affect satellite signals, influencing GPS accuracy and other satellite communications. And lastly, space weather. It contributes to phenomena related to space weather, such as geomagnetic storms, which can impact technology and infrastructure on Earth. Okay? So now we are seeing what this HARP research facility is doing. Okay, so they can study the ionosphere. We have already defined where's the ionosphere located here on Earth, and we already described what does the ionosphere is in charge of doing. Okay, and what's interesting is the one that I lastly, told you, this space weather, part of the ionosphere. Okay, it is interesting because it contributes to phenomena related to space weather, such as geomagnetic storms, which can impact technology and infrastructure on Earth. Okay, so we're starting to see how even in communication, okay, satellites, how they can interact also with satellite communications as well, and radio wave propagation. We're just trying to link everything up here, guys, okay, with facts that we have. Now, we're going to start talking about a veteran named Ben Livingstone. Ben Livingstone is a renowned veteran weather modification expert and former Navy physicist who briefed President Lyndon B. Johnson on the effectiveness of weather control during the Vietnam era. His work in cloud seeding programs aimed to slow down the advance of Vietnamese and Korean troops. The key facts that we have here, guys. This veteran briefed President Johnson. Livingstone briefed President Lyndon B. Johnson on the effectiveness of weather control in the 1960s, demonstrating the technology's potential to impact military operations. The cloud seeding programs. Livingstone was involved in cloud seeding programs during the Vietnam War, which aimed to slow down the advance of Vietnamese and Korean troops. Hurricane control. Livingstone asserts that hurricane control was a national priority for the United States government over 40 years ago, with technology fully operational. Excuse me, guys. With technology fully operational to control the weather at the time. We have decades-long program. Livingstone reveals that the US government has been involved in weather control programs for decades, with evidence from the Stanford Research Institute and Project Storm Fury, a weather control program in the 1960s. So here are some of the documented cases of weather modification projects implemented by the United States government since the 1960s. We have Operation Popeye, which was a cloud seeding project aimed at extending the monsoon season over the Ho Chi Minh Trail during the Vietnam War. Okay, this operation sought to disrupt North Vietnamese supply lines by making road surfaces muddy and causing landslides. Okay, showcasing weather modification for military advantage. We have cloud seeding programs, guys, as I already, briefed you about. And well, in these cloud seeding programs, the North American Weather Modification Council reports that a wide range of entities, including government agencies, sponsor cloud seeding programs in the United States. As of last April 2024, there are 42 cloud seeding projects across the United States, with another 200 stations planned to open by next season 2025. We have also a project called Project Cyrus, by General Electric. So we are starting to see a lot of facts here, a lot of information, data that basically is telling us that this geoengineering and this cloud seeding technology works. And this technology has not been around just right now, okay? We're talking about the Vietnam War, okay? Since the Vietnam War, that's what data, is showing us. We even have an environmental modification convention. In 1976, International Treaty on Environmental Modification, the EMC, the ENMOD is an international treaty prohibiting the military or hostile use of environmental modification techniques having widespread, long-lasting, or severe effects. It was opened for signature on May 18, 1977 in Geneva and entered into force on October the 5th, 1978. The key provisions of this treaty prohibits the use of environmental modification techniques for military or hostile purposes, including weather warfare, which involves the use of weather modification techniques to induce damage or destruction, covers techniques that change the dynamics, composition, or structures of the Earth's atmosphere, hydrosphere, lithosphere, or biosphere, requires parties to consult with each other regarding particular weather modification activities of mutual interest, and establishes a mechanism for reporting and investigating alleged violations for the treaty. So guys, what is this relevance to geoengineering? So the ENMOD treaty's scope covers all weather and climate modifying technology currently in use, including geoengineering techniques. This treaty's prohibition on hostile use of environmental modification techniques could be applied to geoengineering activities that have widespread, long-lasting, or severe effects. Okay, so we're talking that there's even a treaty, okay guys, regulating these things, okay? This is not, guys, do the proper vetting and the proper due diligence if you want to know more. This is not woo-woo, this is not, oh my gosh, I'm making words up right now. The evidence, not the evidence, the facts, the factual data, some factual data, it's out there. As always, guys, analyze your data in order to make a proper assessment, okay? So we're starting to see all of these things happening in this world. How can we, light workers, humans, how can we start to mitigate all of these things? Because we're not powerless, okay? We're actually the other thing. We have power, guys. Let's remind ourselves that we have 36 existing material dimensions, okay? Remember, each material dimension changes according to the speed of the acceleration of the spin of the electron, okay? So in the fifth dimension, the electron spins faster, 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 until we reach the 34th, 36th, when we start becoming antimatter, okay? Or we start using these Moron shell vessels. Now, as we discussed in the previous video, guys, we have discussed already the power of intention and the power that consciousness has to matter and in this quantum field, okay? we as consciousness have power to impact the physicality. That's what we're starting to see in quantum physics, okay? So guys, these meditations that people are doing in order to mitigate these events that some are geoengineered, in my opinion, guys, in my opinion, this is an opinion, okay? Because we're seeing that there are patterns of hurricanes, tornadoes, storms that are beyond, I don't want to say weird, but that's the word that I find right now, you know? They are not the usual, you know, that trajectories or that they used to, okay? That storms typically used to. So we are starting to see these patterns, you know, analyzed, and we start to see some discrepancies, okay, here. This video it is meant for you to start seeing beyond the veil, to start seeing that there's a lot of facts going on around. There are international treaties. This is the aim for you, the aim for me, you know, is that we all start awakening to these other realities, to see what's going on out there. Then how can we create change? We're starting to see the power of intention. Now, with the third thing, we're starting to see, because sometimes victim consciousness might arise, but we start to see that we are part of a different project called Adam Kadmon, or Homo sapiens spiritualis, solar race, however you want to call yourself. We are part of something bigger, guys, okay? There are a lot of things happening in this world. Everything, if you start seeing them from a bigger perspective, we see that everything plays a role out there in order for humanity to start awakening. As I already said, guys, not all of humanity is going to be part of this shift. This is not good, this is not bad, they are not bad people. That has nothing to do, guys. Let's stop judging the experience. Let's stop judging other beautiful souls that just want to keep experiencing this polarity, okay, which we're ascending, you know, from. So the planetary system, the software is already changing, guys, okay? And this electromagnetic grid is being changed right now, okay, to a 5th dimensional. So all the events, some of them might appear as something very negative going on, but they are cleansing. Some of them are cleansing, you know, and some of them are giving the souls the opportunity, you know, to either stay here and become part of this project or to keep playing into a polarity game, okay? Let's remind ourselves that it is through polarity where we learn a lot, okay? So let's stop judging each other. Let's start embracing these new energies. Let's start creating this community. Let's start seeing that intention works, that community works, that when we all start picturing something with intention, it can happen. It's already a timeline in the quantum realm. So I hope this video helps you, and my aim here is for you to start creating this change, for us to start empowering ourselves and to start acting as this evolutionary race that we came here to be. Thank you very much, guys.